Thanks to you, need sometimes. Yeah, we're all turned around. No, I don't. My face shows up here. It says uh-oh, let me know. Everybody be quiet. Order in the court. I'm not gonna be leaving. Yes. Sit down.
It's 7 o'clock. It's time to start our meeting. Amy, please call the roll.
Ms. Blind.
Present.
Mr. Shu.
Present.
Mr. Cost.
Here.
Mr. Hauser.
Here.
Mr. Labutus.
Here.
Mr. Lang.
Here.
Mr. Marmy.
Present.
Mr. Neely.
Here.
Mr. Rath.
Here.
Mr. Ryan.
Here.
You guys like to please stand for the invocation by Mr. Labutus, and then please remain standing for this pledge.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, as we come to prayer this evening, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us, another day to serve you and serve the city. I just ask that you be with our conversations this evening, that they would be fruitful and move the city forward. I also ask that put a hedge of protection over all of our safety forces as they move part each day, to keep us safe and our city safe. Also ask that you bless all of the employees of the city as they work diligently each day to serve our citizens. Be with us this evening, let's time together and help us to keep in mind your vision for our city. These things I ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Deputy Chief Bob, would you like to lead us in the pledge tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is caucus. This contains anything on the agenda tonight. Do we have anything tonight? Okay, next is the minutes of the June 17th meeting. Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Hauser. Second. Second by Mr. Lang. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That passes 10-0. Next up is appointments. Mayor Hall appointing the following individuals to serve as the initial developer representatives to the North Downtown New Community Authority Board of Trustees. Dave Rhodes, term beginning June 17th, 24, ending in June 16th, 26. Tim Hickman, term beginning June 17th, 24, ending in June 16th, 25. Mark Monta, term beginning June 17th, 24, and ending June 16th, 25. Next up is reports of standing committees, finance, street, safety. The objection will be received and filed. Reports from city official Brandon Fox, water administrator, a list of properties being sent to lien for past due water, sewer and storm water bills. Communication, Ryan Bump auditor and audit reported by Wilson, Shannon and Snow Corporation for the year ending December 31st, 2023. Ohio Division of Liquor, new D1 liquor permit application for 3G Fan LLC DBA Fan Tuzo's Restaurant. Was that close? Restaurantos. 24-30 North 4th Street, units 41, 19, 21, 23, 25, North Ohio. Next up is a public hearing. 24-46. Amy, please read the public hearing.
Resolution number 24-46 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Marmy, Mr. Cost, Ms. Blind, Mr. Neely. A resolution approving the renewal application for placement of farmland in an agricultural district and declaring an emergency.
You've heard the reading of 24-26. Do we have anybody here to speak for or against this public hearing? Anybody for or against? Okay. Amy, public hearing, we'll close the public hearing. Amy, will you please read the public hearing again?
Resolution number 24-46 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Marmy, Mr. Cost, Ms. Blind, Mr. Neely. A resolution approving the renewal application for placement of farmland in an agricultural district and declaring an emergency.
You've heard the reading of 24-46. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
make a motion to adopt 24-46.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Ryan. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Ms. Blind,
Yes.
Mr. Shu,
Yes.
Mr. Cost.
Yeah.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Marmy,
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
24-46 passes 10-0. Next up on the agenda is comments from citizens. This is your opportunity to come and speak. We ask you for your name and address. Try to keep your comments to 3 minutes. Come on up, sir.
However, Daniel Crawford, 163 South Second Street. I'm gonna come up twice, but in the interest of the 3 minutes, I want to be brief about this part. First, I want to get up here before you guys vote on 2420. I was one of those who voted in favor of the legalization, but I definitely understand the apprehensions about that. But I most certainly, like Councilman Lang, oppose the notion of like arbitrarily limiting like who, can have a dispensary. Right, I mean, I also oppose limiting how many dispensaries there can be, but baby steps. So I think in this respect, instead of picking winners and losers, as I believe it was Councilman Rath had pointed out, which I think is bad government in essence, I think that should be taken a step back, regulating where these things can be and kind of regulating them like liquor stores are. But that's at least my opinion. So thank you.
Thank you. Come on up.
Rochelle Bolden Smith, 237 Violet Court. I agree, and I mentioned to Mr. Lang earlier that I really appreciated the careful research that he had been doing on this topic. And I also agree with Daniel about his words on that as well. I feel it's premature to vote on this issue. One of my concerns, and I have several, is that there isn't a universal consistency on quality control yet. We do not have a consistency on how we're going to designate the criteria for distributing this product. I'm very big on people knowing what they're taking in terms of all medications. And I think, and that's no different here. So I think there needs to be standards, and I understand Ohio and the states are not in agreement as to what is considered quality. And it's too easy to not have control over things like pesticides and other things that are difficult to qualify in terms of product. I'm also concerned about whether there are standards, and I'm unclear on what the standards are on who gets to sell this stuff and what our role is in that. And I think there should be more research on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I also have another topic that I think is going to take the rest of my 3 minutes plus at the end. It has come to my attention that in the last month, there have been 3 hit and runs in our area. And 2 were on bicycles, 1 is dead. And 1 was a pedestrian. I've been doing some inquiry and trying to re-find out information because I have been involved in education on bicycle and road safety before, but that's been a while. Still have contacts on that. But the thing is that inquiring with people, in Granville, for instance, more people are aware of what direction, for instance, on the street, or what side of the street you're supposed to ride on a bicycle. In our area, I see a whole lot of people not knowing which side of the street. In fact, recently what came up is that there is a belief that downtown you're supposed to ride on one side of the street if you're on a bicycle, and in other areas within Newark, you're supposed to ride on the other side of the street on your bicycle. And that's ridiculous. This is so easy to fix. It's just crazy. In terms of the pedestrian.
You got about 30 seconds.
Okay, in terms of the pedestrian that was hit, that was in my vicinity. It was also a hit and run. The person briefly stopped. She said she needed help. The person drove away. Which is inexcusable. The thing is that in our area, there's an awful lot of streets that do not have sidewalks. And that has been a problem that has caused a lot of accidents in Columbus as well, where the sidewalks don't exist.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak at this time? You have another opportunity later on in the agenda. Come on up, sir.
Bob Klockner, 289 Myrtle Avenue. I have heard from law enforcement that marijuana is a lot stronger and a lot more dangerous now. Which in turn means to me, and I think yous also, that it's going to be a lot more dangerous for the entire Newark community.
Anybody else? Okay, next on the agenda is ordinance on the second reading, 24-19.
Ordinance number 24-19 by Mr. Lang, Mr. Cost, Mr. Martin, Mr. Shute, Mr. Rath, Ms. Blind, Mr. Neely. An ordinance amending chapter 210 of the codified ordinances of the city of Newark, Ohio to establish procedures for setting the compensation of elected officials.
For the reading of 24-19, what is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Lang,
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 24-19.
Second. Got a motion by Mr. Lang, second by Mr. Rath. Do you have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shute?
Yes.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Neely?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
24-19 passes 10-0. Next up is ordinance on the first reading, 24-20.
Ordinance number 24-20 by Mr. Cost, Mr. Rath, Mr. Hauser, and Ms. Blind. An ordinance amending chapter 850 of the codified ordinances of the city of Newark, Ohio to impose licensing requirements for adult use marijuana facilities to limit the number of marijuana dispensaries operating within the city of Newark, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
You've heard the reading of 24-20. What is your wish? Motion. Got a motion by Mr. Cost,
Second.
second by Ms. Blind. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy?
I think this has been debated quite a bit and discussed, and I know that there are members of council that are in the law director's office and our safety forces, and everybody would like to come to an agreement on things, so given that, I think there's been a little bit of give and take on the different concerns and things. So with that, I'd like to propose a motion for an amendment. And everybody should have a copy of what I'm indicating to add the definition of dual use license, which means a license issued by the division that allows to the cultivator, processor, testing laboratory, or dispensary to engage in permissible activities for their respective license type under both the medical and non-medical cannabis statutes. Also add the definition of certification of operation, which means a certification of operation or license issued by either the Department of Commerce or the State Board of Pharmacy pursuant to Chapter 3796 of the revised code and Chapter 3796 of the Administrative Code. The proposed amendment would be to amend Section 850.02B to take place and to read pursuant to authority granted by Ohio Revised Code Section 3780.25. The number of adult use marijuana dispensaries permitted to operate within the city is hereby limited to 3. To qualify for an adult use dispensary license, a facility must possess and maintain a certificate of operation as a medical marijuana dispensary, acquire a dual use license from the state of Ohio, and be compliant with all applicable ordinances, codes, rules and regulations of the state of Ohio and the city of Newark.
I will second that motion.
So we got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lane to make the amendment. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Howard?
I'll make a brief comment. I think this amendment keeps intact the licensing limit that I've been seeking from the beginning. Changes it slightly, but I think it still keeps that all intact, so I'll be in support of this.
Ms. Blunt?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I agree with Mr. Hauser. However, that doesn't mean I like it. Right? And to the citizens' point, this marijuana is not the same that we grew up with. The higher level of THC is damaging. I researched it. And you know what? There's no good data out there yet because it's still being tested. It's still being run through community research. And, you know, there's nothing foundational to say whether or not it's harmful to people in the long term. And so what do we take from this? Hey, citizens, come to zoning, come to planning commission. Come, because our maps will be able to demonstrate what is available for building, for available sites rather. Say your piece. This is a great time to participate. Done, close.
Anybody else? Mr. Wayne?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I just like to say I appreciate the amendment language and the support from different folks. I think this is a good compromise that gets us to a place where we're not over regulating the market. Still not totally happy with it, like Ms. Blind had it said as well. But I think at the end of the day, we got to find common ground. And so I appreciate the work that was done by folks to try to come up with something that gets us to a similar result that was, you know, the desire, Mr. Hauser and others, but also addresses some of the concerns we've stated here about, you know, the dispensaries being able to move to another location or change ownership, that sort of thing. So I'm in full support of this amendment. That'll pass. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, we will be voting on the amendment now, so Amy, please call the roll.
Ms. Blind,
Yes.
Mr. Shu,
Yes.
Mr. Cost,
Yes.
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Marmy,
Yes.
Mr. Neely,
Yes.
Mr. Rath,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Amendment passes 10-0. Now we gotta go back and pass the original one. So please call the roll. We already have a motion by Mr. Cost and a second by Ms. Wonderly, so. Read the roll for 24-20.
Ms. Blind,
Yes.
Mr. Shu,
Yes.
Mr. Cost,
Yes.
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Marmy,
Yes.
Mr. Neely,
Yes.
Mr. Rath,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
24-20 passes 10-0. Next up is 24-22.
Ordinance number 24-22 by Mr. Hauser, Mr. Cost, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Rath. An ordinance vacating portion of Iron Avenue running west from Van Voorhees Street. Said street right of way is located north of 383 Iron Avenue.
24-22 will be held until our next meeting, which will be Monday, July 15th. Next up is resolution on the second reading, 24-59.
Resolution number 24-59 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Shute, Mr. Rath, Mr. Cost, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Neely. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
You've heard the reading of 24-59. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
make a motion to adopt resolution 24-59.
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang. Do we have any discussion? Amy, please call the roll.
Ms. Blind,
Yes.
Mr. Shute,
Yes.
Mr. Cost.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy,
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
24-59 passes 10-0. Next up, and our last one tonight is resolutions on the first reading, 24-61 expedite.
Resolution number 24-61 expedite by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Cost, Mr. Rath, and Ms. Blind. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
You've heard the reading of 24-61. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
make a motion to waive the 2-day reading rule on resolution 24-61.
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang to waive the 2-day reading rule. Amy, please call the roll.
Ms. Blind,
Yes.
Mr. Shute,
Yes.
Mr. Cost. Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
2-day reading rule has been waived. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr.
make a
Marmy,
motion to adopt resolution 24-61.
Second.
got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy?
we are, as I indicated in finance this evening, we're gonna amend this. We're wishing to amend this to change it from a 7.4% increase to an 8% increase. So my motion, anything to amend is that anything indicating 7.4% will be changed to 8%. And then as far as line items, section 1, the new total is $1,400. 100.204-5124 was $1,350. We need to increase that $50 to a new amount of $1,400. Section 2 total will be changed to $87,250. 100.102-5124 was $11,250, increased $75. New amount is $11,325. 100.106-5124 was $15,550. Increased $650, new amount is $16,200. 100.107-5124 was $10,200, increased $750, the new amount is $10,950. 100.112-5124 was $7,000, increased that $650. The new amount is $7,650. 100.114-5124 was $6,400. Increased $150, the new amount $6,550. 100.121-5124 was $4,400. Increased $100, the new amount is $4,500. 100.127-5124 was $3,600.
increase $150, the new amount is $3,750. 100.155-5124 was $1,400, increase $25, new amount is $1,425. 100.203-5124 was $20,500, increase $600, the new amount is $21,100. 100.601-5124 was $1,600, increase $200, new amount is $1,800. 100.602-5124 was $1,900, increase $100, new amount is $2,000. Section 3, new total is $420. 231.113-5124 was $362, increase $58. New amount is $420. Section 4, new total $25,750. 661.713-5124 was $15,500. Increase $700, new amount $16,200. 661.714-5124 was $4,500. Increase $150, new amounts $4,650. 661.715-5124 was $4,700. Increase $200, new amounts $4,900. Section 5, new total $37,900. 621-7 or .7065-5124 was $22,000. Increase $800, new amount $22,800. 621.707-5124 was $2,010. Increase $90, new amounts $2,100. 621.708-5124 was $12,400. Increase $600, new amounts $13,000. Section 6, new total is $275. 261.161-5124 was $265, increase $10, new amount $275. Section 7, new total is $7,000. 221.302-5124 was $5,800. Increase $1,200, new amount $7,000. Could you repeat that, please?
I will second the longest amended motion.
All right, we got a motion by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Lane to make the amendment, so we need to call the roll on that.
Ms. Blind,
Yes.
Mr. Shu,
Yes.
Mr. Cost,
Yes.
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Okay, now we need to adopt 24-61. Mr. Marmy, Mr. Lane made the original motion, so we need to take a roll call for that. Is there any questions about that before we go? Everybody's afraid to ask, so, all right, good.
Ms. Blind,
Yes.
Mr. Shu,
Yes.
Mr. Cost.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Neely.
Yes.
Mr. Rath,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
24-61 passes 10-0. I feel sorry for you, Amy, just gotta type all that up.
I sent it to her so she can kind of pass.
There you go. There you go. Next up is your last opportunity for citizen comments, name, address, try to keep it 3 minutes. Go ahead, sir.
Dana Crawford, 163 South Second Street, I can confirm I'm gonna get numbers and dollars in my sleep for a week now, but that's okay. Anyways, first of all, despite my comments earlier about 2420, I didn't know it was gonna be amended, so. Although I'm still not happy about a limit of 3, the process works in there and that, in the spirit of compromise, I think it was a good thing. Ultimately, something that can be built on later. So, other than that, in addition to that, I also want to say thank you to the city for, when I was parking downtown to come here, the water filling station seemed like it was working, so I'm very happy about that. So thanks to the city and, along that vein, when I was coming up here, I was thinking about this past week, the Supreme Court ruled about how local government's going to be able to, trying to find the right words here, effectively penalize you for sleeping outside. I know it's kind of like oversimplifying it, but I'm thankful that here in our city, which regardless, I'm always been very proud to be a citizen of Newark. I think it was the last council meeting where Councilman Marmy was talking about how we're a great city, and I will always sing the praises of Newark people, one end of the country to the next. And as long as we don't, have a policy of penalizing people for sleeping like on a bench for a moment, I'm always been proud of our city, but I will be forever happy if we don't go that route. And it's a sad time when we have such division in our country, and when you have, whether you're in politics or you're someone who's on the street, people are just being demonized left and right. And it just like speaks to a need for civility, to be brought back to our process. And trying to do my small part in trying to make that happen. So, all right, thank you guys.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Michelle Boland Smith, 237 Vineland Court. In continuation on the safety issue that I spoke of earlier, I can't stress enough how important I think it is to keep this issue in mind. One of the bicyclists that was run over, who happened to live, was this a person who is both a physician and a regular bicyclist and professional at it. This is again becoming crazy. I think the city really needs to consider taking some action in terms of educating the public on how to cohabitate on the roads properly. And I'm trying to do my part in that, in terms of finding out information, some of which I already have. I know of a number of other people that are interested in participating. It's almost time for Pelotonia, and that's a great resource for teachers. That's why Granville doesn't have as many accidents as we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Gary back about 67 Philmont. Last meeting out here about a month ago, I mentioned the electric bikes, the electric scooters, the dirt bikes, the four-wheelers. They are totally out of control. I was told there was no ordinance against it. Well, it's a motorized vehicle. If it's going to be on the street, it should be licensed, lights, turn signals, and such. And it must be a prerequisite that most of them have to cut off their muffler, because most of them don't even have a muffler. But the electric bikes, electric scooters I watch them go around the square, and when we do our new roundy rounds or bow nights, I do like them on one of the few. They go the wrong way on purpose. And I've witnessed that over and over. So we are going to have to do something. I think that if we were to impound a few of the dirt bikes and the four-wheelers, the word would get out and things would happen. And where I live, down close to President Harris, East Main Street would be a great place for the police to set up for a couple hours. And at noon to 1 is not a good time to set up. 6 to 8 in the evening, it's like a drag strip down our place. But anyhow, we need to get it under control, folks, before we're like Columbus, where they're going down High Street on 2 wheels. If it's a 4-wheeler, 1 wheel, then a 2-wheeler. So thank you. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you. Anybody else? City officials? Wall director?
Thank you, President Harris. Well, I was on vacation last week and apparently I missed a very interesting meeting. But trust me, it was planned. I didn't miss on purpose. But I just wanted to say that I have a lot of pride in my office. I have a lot of pride in how I handle myself in my capacity. That I would never advise the city in a manner that I would not strenuously defend. And that isn't based on research that was pretty much ad nauseum on this issue. And I know others have researched, but I will say, I know what efforts my law office has gone to in researching this topic, and And we are very proud of the way we handled ourselves in this matter. I know that it was a dicey subject. I know that there were strong feelings on both sides. But I would say that I'm very happy, ecstatic really, that we could come to a decision on this matter. That was a unanimous vote. So I appreciate that. I congratulate this council on being able to work through this. And with that, I pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I'd first like to thank Mr. Marmee. I know we don't agree on everything, however, I think everyone agrees on your fluency and attention to detail. And I know it sounds like rambling numbers, but those are important numbers. And thank you. Thank you for doing such a great job. Mr. Crawford, you had said something about civility and define civility is the act of being civil. Now, that goes on both sides. And certainly all of us have a choice to be civil. But in the realm of community, we also have to understand that one behavior often creates a ripple effect within that same community. And I believe that's something that we need to take. There's going to be opportunity to take more, to create more accountability. And so, but to that point, yeah, we all have a role to play. As far as ATV, I'm with you. Okay, I really am. I'm with you. And spoken to our police force, they're doing a great job when they can't chase people. That's the rough part. And again, this is something that we're going to have to come to a solution, and it will come. But we're going to have to take it apart, piece together, take it apart, piece together, just like you've seen here. And so it's going to take a minute, but a lot of it goes back to civility and just talking to one another. Hey, do you know your kids out in the street? Do you know they almost got killed? I mean, just being that part of community that holds each other together and accountable. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Lyon. Mr. Shu,
Thank you, Mr. President. I will pass.
Mr. Cost,
Thank you, Mr. President. I will also pass.
Mr. Hauser.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll just thank the law director also for her work on 2420. Really appreciate that, and I'm glad we were able to come to what I consider to be still a careful approach on an issue. With that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Hauser. Mr. Labutus.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's two things I want to thank everyone on their work for 2420. And getting to the point where we did with that legislation, and I'd also like to wish everybody a happy Independence Day, a couple days as well. Celebrate our nation's birthday.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I'll just comment briefly on 2420. You know, I've had some pretty negative comments last time about my thoughts on where we were headed as a body, because it really was getting to a point where I just feel like we weren't listening to each other. I feel like that really changed over the last couple of weeks, and we've had folks have had different conversations with each other, and we were able to find common ground. And I think that this passage of this unanimously is a good sign of things to come. And I think it's a lesson for all of us that no matter how tense any issue is, there's always a way for us to find common ground. We just have to be thoughtful, listen to each other, and be a little creative at times. So with that, I'll pass. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon. Mr. Marmy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Need to call a finance committee meeting for the 15th of July. First comments I want to say is I was very pleased with the decision by the Supreme Court in Oregon. However, I do know that, you know, it's been indicated that, you know, municipalities can't do something right away on it. It still has to be kind of interpreted, and you still have to have other things that will go into place, but I think it's a step in the right direction. So I am very pleased that that came through last week. On 2420, I just want to thank everybody for, you know, working together. I know there was still some disagreements, but I think it was a good compromise. I want to individually thank the law director,
discussing it with me. We both are two of a kind in the fact that we're passionate and we stand behind what we say. And I really do think that that's a strength that I admire in her. And I don't like to go up against her either. So, but I do appreciate that. The other thing that I will also state, I learned from it. Not everything that I said and did was necessarily correct, but I learned. So I wouldn't say that, you know, I think that if something doesn't go a particular way, it's okay as long as you learn from it and you utilize those learnings for future opportunities. And I hope that we all learn from this. And then it was good, healthy debate. There was also some unhealthy debate. But I think as long as we learn from it and we learn to come together at the end, work together, I think that's what it's all about. And I think the citizens of Newark were the benefactors of that. And I do appreciate everybody and all their efforts and time that they put into that. I too want to wish everyone a very happy Independence Day. Mr. Harris definitely is ready for the occasion with his tie.
Yes.
I didn't know whether to put my hand over my heart to the flag or to his tie when I was saying the pledge tonight, but you look dapper and I do Thank you, like sir. that. So,
Mr. Ellington would be proud.
yes, and with that, I will pass. Mr. Neely?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will just speak briefly on 2420. I do want to thank Law Director for all her work on it and other members on this body. A lot of work was put into it. I think what we have come up with as an ordinance is really a good mix of giving citizens what they voted for, what they wanted, while also doing so very cautiously into this new ground that we're unfamiliar with. So I think the ordinance we've introduced is that good mix that we're not going to jeopardize safety or overburden our safety forces. So for that, I'm thankful. Do also want to wish everyone happy Independence Day. So with that, I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Neely. Mr. Rapp?
Thank you, I'll call a service committee meeting for our 2 Mondays, July 15th. Want to remind everybody to go to the water department's website, make sure you sign up and give the water department permission to work on your service lines. They're going through the process of replacing those at no cost to the citizens. So make sure you comply and take care of that. I'll speak very briefly on 24-20. Obviously, everybody was passionate about the police. The reason I voted for it was because the one thing that I was most passionate about was the fact that we were dictating precisely who could and could not do business in the city of Newark. I am vehemently opposed to that. I always have been, always will be. This amendment, I think, resolved that issue, or at least satisfied it to my satisfaction. But however you say that, I was okay with it. Let's just leave it at that. So that's why I voted for it. I wish everybody a very happy Independence Day. Thank all of those who have served to make sure that we remain independent. And with that, I will pass.
Mr. Rapp, Mr. Wright?
Thank you, President. Kudos to the legislative body. We've kind of been through a lot this past couple of years. But I'd like to echo Mr. Crawford, baby steps. You know, this is a good first step. I know it's very cautious territory, and I'm glad we pulled it together and got it done. Happy Independence Day, and I'll pass.
Thank you. Want to wish everybody a happy Independence Day. Is the campus still on their July 1st, Wednesday night? Is it Wednesday night? So, yeah, don't forget that. That's always a nice event. They hear the orchestra and the bands, and then the 12-minute fireworks display that they do.
You're in charge of the weather.
Hey, I tell you what, I put up a fence around my property Saturday. It was supposed to rain all day. I prayed the whole week that it didn't rain, so it did not rain. So let's pray it'll rain Wednesday. Our next meeting is July the 15th. Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Cost, second by Mr. Liz. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Oh, okay.